All right, welcome back live. We continue on the Bordas and Bordas hotline of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. It's right here. It's 412-575-2600. If you'd like to tweet, @KDPomp is that Twitter address. So let me know what you think, and I want to remind you the NCAA Tournament now really in full swing, and that means your Western Pennsylvania Honda dealers have Hoops Madness along with every office in the Pittsburgh area. We've gotten down to the Final Four, and the people at Honda have their Final Four. I wonder how it stacks up to your Final Four. But check out Western Pennsylvania Honda dealers and their Hoops Madness. I have Michigan winning it all, but unfortunately I had Duke in that championship game. I do have Villanova, but I have them losing to Duke, and that's not going to happen. But I did have Michigan, for what it's worth. Lovely parting gifts for me. It's a tough thing. Who would have thought 11-seed Loyola of Chicago would get there? Sister Jean is trending at 98 years of age. Pretty good stuff right there. So we'll take those calls. In the meantime, I also want to tell you about the Steelers because they're in Orlando this week. It is NFL owners' meetings, and there's a lot going on. They will officially put that new rule into effect with what is a catch, the Jesse James rule, if you want to call it that, because I certainly believe that call had a lot to do with this rule being implemented. And it took a long time because the NFL move on certain things, and they were willing to take all the abuse that they've gotten. There's no reason for it. Des Bryant, when he made that catch in Green Bay, that was a catch. Calvin Johnson was a catch, and for whatever reason, it got so convoluted with the wording that these things never happen. And now they just make it simple. You know what a catch is. You see a catch. Just maintain it. All right, we also have you know what they did in free agency with John Bostic and Morgan Burnett. Do they need to do more? And I put a Twitter poll question out there about their linebacker who is entering his 4th year, but this is the time where they have to trigger a 5th-year option. That would be Bud Dupree. I think he has not been as good as people expected him to be. Last year, I thought he regressed. So the question is, do you pick up next year's salary? That's 2019. You have to do it by May the 3rd. Either you do or you don't. And if you do, you guarantee him $9.5 million in 2019, banking on him having a good year. If you don't, then he becomes a free agent after this season, free to go anywhere he wants, and that's a risk you take. If you don't believe he's going to have the kind of year you would expect, okay, don't trigger the option. But if he does, then you may lose out in that situation. 412-575-2600. Let's go to the lines. We've got Ken in Clearfield. Hello, Ken. How you doing?
Hey, Bob. How you doing? How you guys doing? Hey, just a great conversation. I agree with you 100%. The NCAA basketball tournament, thank God Grayson Allen's not in the Final Four. He absolutely cheats every time he plays. He's a senior. Thank God he's gone. And when he goes to the NBA, it's going to be unreal. And to the Penguins, what a game today. What a great game. Their defense got to be a little bit better, though. What do you think about that?
I think it's highly entertaining hockey. You're right. They played that way. The Devils game the other night was even better. And I think these teams all will target the Penguins, and they all have really good, young, speedy rosters. To me, it's going to come down to goaltending more than anything else. It always does. And Philadelphia, for years, has really the goaltending has cost them. We've seen it time and time again. Brian Elliott will be coming back, but I don't think it matters. They went with Alex Lyon today, a rookie. He was yanked. Peter Mrazek was traded for to get maybe he can be what they expect him to be, but they've had these questions for a long time. Keith Kincaid is the one you should watch in New Jersey. He's playing very well right now, and he's going to relinquish that role. He's been terrific. He was again last night in a win over Tampa Bay. New Jersey is a team that has a lot of speed. They can match up with the Penguins. They're 3-0 against them, while the Penguins are 4-0 against Philadelphia. With regard to Grayson Allen, maybe it's a little bit of karma that ball did not go at the end because he had the game-winning shot. It looked like it was in the basket, circled around, popped back out. If that goes, Duke wins. Instead, it goes to overtime, and they lose. It's March Madness, baby. Let's go to Mark in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Mark? How you doing?
Bob, how are you?
Good, and you?
Bob, I called you 2 weeks ago, was inquiring about the NCAA Tournament and site location and wondering why Pittsburgh has never garnered the regionals. Mm-hmm. And you had said it was a matter of capacity. Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at the 4 venues that the regionals were at, Boston, Atlanta, and how does Omaha, Nebraska get regionals over Pittsburgh if you really want to get them? Did Warren Buffett have anything to do with that? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Creighton University is a very successful there. And in Omaha, there's not all that much to do. There is a demand during Creighton University. It's a good team. So I don't know. I just think it's one of those places that it's a basketball-starved area. They love it. They've embraced it, and they do it. I thought Pittsburgh handled itself very well here. I thought they showed up. There was a buzz about these games. We saw two of the teams in Duke and Villanova who went deep. Villanova's still going, and I think Pittsburgh's going to get it again. And I think it's 2022. So Duquesne University wins that bid, and they do a great job hosting. So hopefully it'll continue. Line 3, no, line 4 we'll go to. It's Rich in Altoona. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Good, Bob. Two things, Pirates and Pens. First of all, the Pens, Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Toronto. I think the Pens goaltending is going to let them down. I'd love to see them win a third one, but I don't think they're going to.
Okay, and Pirates?
I don't think they're going to win 70 games. I don't know where the power is going to come from. Starting pitching is up in the air. I just don't see it happening.
Cervelli's going to hit 50 home runs based on what he did in the spring, so you don't have to worry about that.
I hope you're right. But I just don't see it.
No, I agree. I've said that all along. You lost 28 from McCutcheon. Thanks for the call, man. Where are they going to get it? They better hope Polanco does it, and if he doesn't, then he's going to be officially regarded as a bust. I think Marte's in a good position to bounce back. He's got that PED suspension away from him. He had a pretty good run after he returned last year. I would expect him to be their best outfielder. Can Dickerson handle in left field? Can he hit 27 home runs? I don't know. Can Colin Moran play? I don't know. Although, if I'm going to say anything based on what I saw of him swing and heard some analysis of it, that he could hit a lot of home runs at PNC Park. But again, it's an unknown. Can Bell duplicate what he did last year? He's going to be one of the focal points. Then you have Harrison and Mercer, very good up the middle. They're fine there. But those guys may be traded at the trade deadline. Who knows what's going to happen with the Pirates? So 75 wins is what I'm thinking. You say 70, so does Sports Illustrated. They came in nationally at 70. Bleacher Report had them at 69 wins. The biggest total I saw on any national site was 78 for the Pirates, which is still, of course, below 500. Let's go out to Tom in Greenfield. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Okay, Bob, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Bob. Just a couple comments. I think the Pens will go as far as Murray takes them. I think their defense is struggling a little bit right now. But, Bob, I just want you to fill me in. Did you hear anything about the second game of the Pirates here, that what you have to do to go to the game for $1? I'm going to hang up, Bob.
No,
thank you.
I did not hear anything about that. I do know they haven't sold out the opener yet. I don't know anything about that, to be honest. So we'll see. The Penguins are going to give it a go. And, listen, it's hard to win one. It's real hard to win two. If they don't win three, so be it. It's been a terrific run, but I still think they have it in them to play. Now, goaltending, as I said, is going to be the issue number one. Matt Murray has won a couple of cups. He's experienced enough. I thought he played okay today. There was some, the glove at the end, which allowed Couturier to get the game winner. I mean, maybe you should make that play. I don't know, but I think you don't want to see him 45 shots tonight either. I think defense in front of him has got to get out of giving up odd man breaks. That's where it all starts with me. I want to see the Penguins win a 2-1 game in which they limit the opposition to 22 shots on goal as they get closer to the playoffs. They need to start seeing more of that. We have some tweets in. Rick Porter at KD Pomp says, to heck with the Final Four, I'd rather have the Frozen Four. That would be a wonderful event, and it is. It's widely embraced wherever it goes. Love to see that happen, and I have a feeling it's going to happen. I know the Penguins are looking to do that. If they haven't already, I know they put in a bid. I'm not sure the exact details of that. We also have Troy Ellich, who on Twitter says at KD Pump, the Pirates have a lefty in the rotation. Sports Illustrated describes Josh Bell as a DH forced to play first base. He was a bad glove, bad footwork, no range. They predict 70 wins, and that's what I said, SI now. I thought Josh Bell improved. We'll see. I mean, Adam Frazier's going to start this year as a DH because they play in Detroit to start, so they'll have that opportunity to play him and get his bat in the lineup. He'll probably bat leadoff, and I would imagine Harrison, Bell, Polanco, Marte, Colin Moran, Cervelli. I'm not sure what their lineup will be, but the lineup should not be a total problem other than they don't have a lot of power, and that always is a problem with me. But I think the biggest concern I have is their starting pitching. We got to go to a break. We have Big Al, Moose, and Tom coming up next right here live on Pittsburgh CW.